to Analog. I'm Lisa Foiles, here on probably the most helpful show on the internet. We care about finding you more games like the ones you already love. And today we're talking Dark Souls 2, the brooding fantasy action RPG with ruthless difficulty that is back to kill you. You loved it, you braved it, you somehow miraculously finished it, and now you want more. Here are games similar to Dark Souls 2. We'll assume you already checked out Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls because, well, those would be similar to Dark Souls 2. They're the same franchise. But you will also like Dragon's Dogma. What makes it similar to Dark Souls 2? Well, first, they're both hack and slashers with survival horror elements. Plus, they both have huge open worlds, expansive fantasy settings that you can explore at your own pace. Gransys and Drangleic are full of secret areas, branching off in odd ways, allowing you to have a hell of a good time exploring the land before ever starting a story quest. Dragon's Dogma has a much more in-depth story compared to the vague plot of Dark Souls 2, though they are both about revenge. In Dark Souls 2, you're on a quest to get your curse removed, and in Dragon's Dogma, you're after the dragon who ate your heart. That's not okay. Both games are sort of grim, brutal fairy tales. However, Dragon's Dogma isn't as grueling and lonely as Dark Souls 2. We all know Dark Souls has one goal: to kill you, over and over. Dragon's Dogma is more forgiving. Plus, you have party members called pawns. Both you and your main pawn are fully customizable, and a lot of the classes, or vocations, are similar in both games. I assure you, you will die a lot less in Dragon's Dogma, though careful when riding on a griffin, because that thing will just tip you right off. My next suggestion has to be the Monster Hunter games. We'll say Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. The combat will feel very similar, slow and deliberate with a focus on timing, evasion, and health management. Every game has boss battles, but Monster Hunter thrives on them. These massive, detailed monsters that you fight require clever strategy. They don't have a health bar, so you'll just have to experiment with different attacks until they visibly start to wear down. You'll still have that open world feel, but a bit less exploration. The bonus here is the lighter environment. While the bleakness of Dark Souls 2 just makes you want to curl up in a corner and weep silently, Monster Hunter has lots of bright neon colors that you'll never see in Dark Souls. Oh, and the monsters are just so beautiful, and once defeated, you can use their dead carcasses for sweet hats and armor. But I imagine that can't smell amazing. Next, screw lighter-hearted. Maybe you liked Dark Souls 2 because it was so dark. Maybe you love being the brooding loner. If so, stepping into the boots of Geralt from The Witcher 2 might be just what you crave. A great quote I've heard about Dark Souls 2 is, "It has a great story, you just have to work for it." If that's the case, then The Witcher 2 delivers you an amazing story on a silver platter. You've been accused of killing the king, oops, so you set out to find the real killer. But it's so much more complex than that, filled with political maneuvering, tests of your moral compass, and trying to determine just who to trust. Tough decisions put you on dramatically different paths. It's a serious game, but still offers the occasional well-timed joke from peculiar characters just to keep things fun.
They've got some amazing women at the brothel. You should take a look.
Speaking of fun, the combat is visceral and satisfying in this amazing RPG. You are a monster killer, though that doesn't mean you still won't befriend the occasional troll. Each battle really requires intelligence. In fact, your strategy in preparing for battle is almost more important than your performance in the battle itself. One final suggestion for the masochists. Dark Souls 2 is the ultimate display of skill today, but if beating it left you thinking you're this amazing gamer who can beat any game, then I dare you to try Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. This classic is one of the hardest games ever made. You're a knight trying to save a princess from ghoulish horrors. Get hit once and you lose your armor and you're left running around in your undies. Get hit a second time and you just die. You're just a pathetic pile of bones. Test your skills, test your sanity, and try not to have a brain aneurysm. That's really all we ask. Leave me a comment and add to my suggestions. Which games do you think are like Dark Souls 2? Follow me on Twitter @Lisa Foiles and come back next week for another episode of Analog.